It's an attitude, a motivation, a deep-seated spirit. It's an inner strength to keep your feet planted firmly on the ground, no matter what presses against you. It's self-confidence. It's belief. It's a way of life. It's Fezek Athletics. Shop now at www.fezekeathletics.com to get your fitness gear now. Conquer your physique.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Men of Honor podcast, brought to you by Fezek Athletics, fitness gear, and supplements. And now introducing the Men of Honor fellas.
My name is Erik, Instagram Swiss Burgundy, Providence, Rhode Island.
My name's Joe Baranski, Instagram Joseph Baranski, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Greg McCray. You can follow me on Facebook under Greg McCray Jr.
And this is Frank at Fezek Frank, also Fezek Athletics from San Diego, California, currently living in Philadelphia.
All right, I'm Javon, a.k.a. R.I.P, at Forever King Henry 33, from Norfolk, Virginia, currently living in Philly. Yo, Men on the Podcast, episode 6. Here with the fellas. Fellas, how y'all doing today, man?
Pretty good. Not too bad. Resting up.
Doing all right. In the times that we were in.
Yeah. Things are good.
God.
All right, well, let's just jump right into it, man. Like Greg said, the times we in, on Monday, the 25th, everybody in the world, well, in America definitely knows, heard about in Minneapolis, the killing of George Floyd. First of all, I want to say, rest in peace to George Floyd and prayers to his family. But it's just, I hate to start off the pod like this, but man, this is something that we just need to get into, fellas. We all, regardless of what color we are, you know what I'm saying? Like brown, black, we're all brothers, and we all know the difference between like being a human being and doing something inhumane. And seeing the videos of this, it's just sickening, man. To watch somebody kneel on somebody's neck who's already, he was restrained with handcuffs, 2 officers holding his legs down, and to be kneeling on the back of his neck for over 8 minutes, and it's just crazy, man. Like, what's y'all thoughts on that, man? Anybody, just start off.
If y'all don't mind, I'd rather be last.
So I'll start it off. I watched the video a few times, and I'm not gonna lie, it gives me chills every time to think that this is even possible. That we watched this cop kneel on his neck for 9 minutes, and I think it was like 45 or 50 seconds. I think the number was.
Yeah.
And for the last 2.5 minutes, they said he was not struggling; he was lifeless. For the fact of the matter that he I'm glad he's arrested, and I'm hoping he gets murder 1 and not 3rd degree.
Yeah.
Because there was no need. There was zero need for what happened. And I just don't, for the life of me, I can't figure out in my head why this was a good idea, why this was the right thing to do at this time. Because you can see he was acknowledging what was being said around him. He looked up. He knew people were talking. it's you know, I'm not much of a cursor all the time, but it's a bunch of bullshit because it should have never happened. It should have never freaking happened. I'm done there.
I'll go. Like, for me, when I watched it, I was listening. I was listening more at the voices of the onlookers, because it went from, if you listen, you can hear the guy say, "Look, I study it. I study like jujitsu. What you're doing, you're cutting off his airflow. You got the move on too long. What are you doing?" And then they started pleading with the cop that was doing crowd control. Asked him, like, "Yo, get your guy. Like, you're worried about us. We're not coming over there, but can you get him off his leg?" And the fact that was the scariest thing is none of them thought that about his life enough to break the wall. And that's the sad thing to me. It's like that man's life wasn't worth your partner or coworker being mad at you because you got him, like, but is it worth you going to jail for? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just looking at it like, so his life wasn't worth you going to jail for versus having someone angry at you or mad at you because you called him out in front of other people, but he was doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And like, as Joe put it, like, it should never happen. Like, even if he resisted, which from all accounts he didn't resist.
Yeah.
Then you shackle his feet. You already got him in handcuffs. You shackle his feet. You could drag him into the thing, and he's alive and well. None of this had to happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna slide in one more time too. And great point with that. Like, there's 3 cops holding him down. Are you telling me that this guy was that much of a threat over a bounce check, or even it wasn't even a bounce? It was a perfectly fine check.
It was a forged $10 bill. It was a counterfeit $10 bill.
But you can get those
$10
anywhere
fucking dollar bill.
No, like,
yes,
you could pick that up at any point and not know you have it.
Yeah,
I've been there. I got one a long time ago. I remember looking at it after I got home, and I went back to the bank, and I gave it back to them. I said, "Look, you guys just gave this to me. Why am I getting this?" And they're like, "Oh, my apologies. They gave me another $20 bill." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My problem here is that 100% correct. 2 people hold him down. Nobody has to be on his neck. And, you put him in the car. You put him where he can't move around maybe. You do something different. Like, there had to be a better choice. If you're a police officer in today's day and age, and granted, I'm not going to lie, I feel as though 90% of these police officers out there are good people. But the 10% are the ones in the news. It's not the 90% that bring Shaquille O'Neal out to play basketball. It's not the 90% that, sit there and say, "Hey, we got a news ordinance. Hey, can you do this for us?" And keep playing, have fun, do this. Hey, we see that you're struggling with this right now. Why don't you try it this way? The ones that are doing the good job. We're not seeing any of that. We're seeing the ones that are actually doing something wrong. Now,
right. I mean, not to cut you off, Joe, but at the same time, this right here has nothing to do with good cops and bad cops. This is something that's behind cops. This is something that's set out in each police department. These people are scattered throughout the United States. They just they work for a certain. This is a lot deeper than what a lot of people think it is. There's no way a guy should be getting arrested for a forgery $20 bill or $10 bill, because anybody can have that. If he went into the check casting place and the check casting place say he had a forgery bill, he can't use it. He doesn't get arrested for that. You know what I mean? Because it's not like he's literally making it. We don't know if he's making it or not. there's no reason for a cop to come up to him and say, "Hey, you're arrested for having a forgery $10 bill." I can have a $10 forgery bill. And the cop try to arrest me. I'm going to question him back at the same time. It's like there's no law for you to arrest me unless you catch me printing money, or you come to my house and you see me, have a whole system of trying to make counterfeit money. Then you can arrest me, but you can't arrest me because I can pick this up anywhere. Anybody can have a forgery, just like you said. Anybody can have it. You can get it from a corner store. You can get it from a grocery store. It's because money. Yeah, the money is a circulation so fast that you can't. Yeah, you can't detect this. But this right here, this is something it's deeper than good cops and bad cops. These people are set out into these police enforcement to do one job. They're out to do one job, and for him to get arrested for a forgery and for him to die like that, that's uncalled for. And for him to sit there and tell you plenty of times that he can't breathe, and he was a little bit intoxicated at the same time. Like, come on.
I got you.
Yeah.
No, and I agree with you. Like there's got to be something behind all this in my mind too. Like I have a feeling from what I've heard, from what I've read, he was about equality and change and making lives better. He was about the good stuff in life.
Who?
So
George Floyd.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
even if
they changed his life, he moved there to change his whole life.
He's first of all, like, he was a 6'7" black guy, right? He was a big black guy, big husky guy. So I heard stories saying, well, maybe they was kind of intimidated by him or whatever. But when you look at the videos, because the video from the store across the street showed he was complying with them. He wasn't resisting like they originally say he did. To even, when they say they had to put him on the ground the way they did, that he was resisting. Steven Jackson, everybody know who Steven Jackson is, former NBA player. That was his homeboy. Everybody, because he was from Texas, everybody down there say he was a gentle giant. Like, he wasn't like an aggressive type person. So,
and they look alike too.
Yeah, they do. But yeah, they do. So it's like, how did you get a guy, regardless if he was intoxicated or whatever, he was cooperating with you. It's not his fault that he was 6'7" or whatever, and you feel intimidated or whatever. That all of a sudden he ends up on the ground with two cops holding his legs, and you kneeling on his neck, which is an illegal move, by the way.
Yeah, it's not sanctioned.
On his neck for over 8 minutes, 9 minutes. It doesn't matter. Like, a minute was too long. You shouldn't have been kneeling on his neck at all.
Yeah.
And it's like,
he shouldn't even be arrested, period. He shouldn't have been in that situation, period.
And then it's like, you look at that, and your kids look at that. We all got kids.
And I know that cash checking place is probably not even up and running right now because of what that person did.
I mean, ain't nothing
it's probably feeling that
up
guilt.
There protest, they're fucking shit up there. Yeah. Like, just like now in Philly, they're doing the same thing. Like, it's protests going on. Like, this shit got to stop.
They just put a curfew up in Philly. They just put a curfew on in Philly. You got to be in by 8:00 until Sunday. But the protesting thing, it's for me. I don't like it just because there's too many people involved into the protest, because you can't cipher out who's really for justice and who's not. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that I'm kind of upset about.
But people are angry, Frank. People like, this shit is going crazy.
But you got to realize this whole thing with race, everybody always jump behind a black movement. It always happens every single time. They want to hop behind it and try to help out and get in front of it before we can get in front of it. Yeah. It happens every single time. Just with sports, with hip hop, just culture, like they always trying to try to, imitate us, a certain way. But this topic here, we need to handle ourselves. You know what I mean? Because it's been going too far. And if they don't handle it this time, the next time or the following time, it's going to be blood. And that's the only way and that's the only way I think stuff is going to get resolved. It has to be bloodshed. That's the only way it's going to be resolved.
What I'll say is the protest itself. Like, I agree with what Killer Mike said. Like, as far as like you burning down your own homes, businesses,
Right.
like you're not helping the cause.
The cause.
That way. Like if you're gonna help the cause, like protest, vote, be more conscientious of like who you're electing and the official, and hold them accountable.
And
like your vote holds
weight.
Yeah.
Locally, Greg, and emphasize that your local vote.
Yes,
right.
It's small, local, like because the thing I try to explain to people is federal doesn't come up with ideas. They take ideas that they see work at a small local level. Oh, that joint looks like it could work on a federal level. I'd be the man if I do that. And that's where they pull those things up and they start doing it. But if you don't put these people in there that are going to do the right thing, that are going to hold people accountable, that aren't worried about like how their arrest rate, but more, are we getting the right conviction rate? Like, are we finding the guilty people that are doing something? Are we finding the right people? Like, we're not just going to get a whole bunch of people. We're just getting and I would love for our social justice system to be like other countries where instead of putting people in servitude, rehabilitate them as people. Because a lot of times people fall into the cycle, and they didn't know any better, and they weren't shown the opportunities, and they weren't given the chances. And if they learn a trade, if they learn something, they could go back out in society, and they make society better because they can speak to another person before they go down that road. You know what I mean?
And I mean, I was, I was. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, to your other point of the listening. See, me personally, the reading I've done, there's no such thing as race as a construct, and it was constructed to divide in the first place. So
correct.
To me, it's I just go by ethnicity, and everybody's ethnicity, it's already like everybody is everybody as far as you know what I mean. Everybody,
but
like, you know what I'm saying. So
but you gotta realize though, Greg.
No. Hold on, just let me finish it out. So to me, like, you need other people to take up your cause. Just because you need it to be everyone's problem. Because if it's just our problem, we get swept to the side. But if everybody,
we always get swept to the side. I mean, just like with the whole immigrant thing, like they wanted blacks to get behind it and everything like that, and we're like, no, because we've been through this already. We fought it ourselves, and what happened when we fought it ourselves? We actually got away from it. Yeah, we didn't need anybody. We didn't need anybody help. Remember that we didn't need anybody help. We fought for our side.
But the thing,
you know what I mean? But that whole immigration stuff, everybody was fighting. Oh, the Mexicans are going back. This and that. No, it's a rule. You cannot go. You cannot go. You can right, but you cannot go into it. You cannot go into another country without getting the proper paperwork.
Yeah, but I mean, the immigrant thing is what. But we didn't ask to come over here.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. We didn't ask.
So it's like,
and then we still had to fight. That's what I'm saying. We still had to fight. That's the thing. We still had to fight for it.
People trying to get here, and we didn't even ask if you want us to get behind you on something.
Right.
But we did we didn't even ask to be here, and like you said, we had to fight to get what we got.
A lot of times, the reason why we get swept to the side politically is because we don't change our vote. We don't hold the people accountable.
And emphasize that, like what you pointed out, Greg. The sexy vote is the federal vote, right? Like the presidency, and that. What people don't realize is the state and the federal two separate governments, right?
Yep.
Exactly.
Like what this guy is going through with this, I don't know. I don't even want to say this officer's name. I don't give a fuck. What he's going through, that's going to be handled through the state government. The local government.
Exactly. Once they fix that, then I start voting.
But your vote, but you got to start voting locally. Like you gotta get these people in that's going. You gotta get the people in that's like us, Frank.
No,
that's going to look to
they're not
help.
gonna, but that's not going to happen. I just see my wife voted. She voted. I looked at that ballot. She didn't know none of those people's faces that she voted for. I said, you know who that? I said, you know who that face looked like? You know who that face looked like? No, I'm just voting for, I don't know how you guys vote, but I'm voting for the people, pretty much the Democratic people for for the state.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know these people. I never seen them on on TV or speaking anywhere or anything like that. If they do, it's very privately.
But that's what we gotta go. We gotta go and seek that knowledge. We gotta go get that education.
But this is where I go back at you,
right, but that's just one out of how many people.
But hold on, but let me go back.
Look at our communities. Like, if you look at our community, none of those people are voting. They only voting what they see on TV, because data right now and television and technology is what is the source right now.
But see, that's where people don't have the information. They're not getting the information, and they're not
using the technology to seek the proper information
to go vote properly and or taking the time to learn.
Yeah,
and that's
right.
Where,
but
that's where people have to sit there and teach other people. Like, I'll say this in barbershops. I'll say this anywhere. If somebody gets me talking about it, I'll just be like, look, you need to start paying attention locally, and meet the people. If you can't meet them, talk to somebody that has met them, especially if the person has like-minded views like you. So, like, say me and Rock have like-minded views, and Rock goes, yo, I met him. Yo, he's on board with this. Because I could trust, like, you know what I mean? So a lot of times
you can trust, right?
Like, a lot of times, but see, now we're so, political parties have been so fanaticized, like fans, where you're extreme. So it's either you're right or you're left, and there's no real independent thought. People just down for their team. And it's okay to be down for your team, but you should be thinking independently to make sure your team is doing the right thing. And if people could get to that point where it goes back to where it's country over party, so it's always be the country's good over the party's good.
Yeah.
And right now it's party over everything.
All right, hold on. Let's get E in so he can get something in. Go ahead, E.
I mean, I hear a lot of voices. I hear a lot of angers. I hear a lot of frustration. And what I'm noticing here is something. This is something, and this is just me from my own personal perspective. Now, I'm going to give everybody that's listening, because this obviously gets heard from a lot of people via YouTube. So I'm gonna give everybody a little bit of a history lesson, just so we can catch everybody up, all right? Because some people don't know who we are as individuals. Okay, obviously people, they see you, but they don't really know who we are. Joe, Frank, Greg, Rock, myself, we all know each other from living in Pennsylvania. We all played basketball and what have you. And this is how we all know each other. And we all are different brothers from different races. I'm Latino, Joe is of a Caucasian, Brock, Greg, and Frank are black. And we all grew up together, and we all played basketball together, and we all run into different realms of life, and we all done different forms of things together. We've never had issues where we never had anything that had to deal with race, and in not one situation, as long as we were together. Agreed?
Yeah, with each other. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
None of us have ever had to deal with anything of this situation.
Agreed.
So when I sit here and I hear the voices of every one of y'all, and I see here and hear this, what goes on here, and watch what's going on here, this has been something that has been brewing way longer than what we see now. This has been something that's been going on for decades and decades.
Years.
And this is
hundreds.
And unfortunately, yes, it has been done to the black community, and has been done so long to the black community. But it has been spread over to the brown community. It has spread over to the white community, because just because you don't hear it on TV and you don't see it on TV, it doesn't mean that it hasn't happened to different other races. But it just so happens right now that yes, the black community is being targeted. Is the word? Is being profiled. Is being targeted.
Right, by one group too. You know, it's not like
one particular group, and this is correct.
Yeah.
This is me. I want to get to what I'm saying, and this is I want to make sure that I'm clear about what I'm saying is that this whole ordeal is what, and I want to bring up a good point where Greg said this is a nation problem now. This has become a nation issue because we can no longer make this a situation of one race or this race. What I see now on TV now is I see a group of races and a group of people now are bonding together and saying there's enough. Frank was like telling it earlier, it's bloodshed now. What you see now in New York, what you see now in Detroit, what you see now in Miami, what you see now in Chicago, what you see now in Atlanta, what you see now in Philly. I mean, in Atlanta, there's bloodshed. There's people that are fighting and they're protesting. In DC, they're fighting. This is what's happening. There people are united, whether you're black, white, brown, whatever it is, and you're standing up and they're fighting against the cops. And unfortunately, what Joe said is right. They're washing away the good cops are getting a bad rap for what the bad cops are doing. And I got plenty of good cop friends that I know. That I have a cop that lives directly across the street from my house. She's a female cop, works for Virginia Beach Police. I deal with sheriffs on a daily basis every single day when I do my job because I have to do evictions of people. I deal with these people every day. Good sheriff.
But you got to realize it's deeper than that. These cops, but these cops that are in these departments, they're behind something else. They're behind something else. They're part of a hatred group.
Yes, I am not sitting here. This is what you're saying is fact. This is correct.
KKK is wearing police uniforms, man.
The reality is now is that you can no longer sit here and say that this thing is going to continue because now what you're seeing now is a pushback from everyone. Everyone's pushing back, black, white, brown. Because I'm looking at this thing now from a huge perspective of people just on the TV. In the past 24, 48 hours, I'm seeing everybody just saying, we're done playing with this game of this whole getting black people getting killed and black people getting shot at and all this other stuff because it's just uncalled for. It's just an innocent man died for no reason for a forged check. And like, why? Because somebody decided to put a illegal jiu-jitsu move on the man's neck for 8 minutes and killed him. And for what? For a senseless act of a forged check? No reason. But again, I feel, and again, I think I speak for everybody that's on this podcast when we say, this has gone on long enough, and you've seen this firsthand that the country is speaking. The country is speaking right now. You're seeing this firsthand. For the first time, you can see now. This is beyond the dude that died in New York. What was his name? I can't think of it.
Eric Garner.
Eric Garner. I mean, because even when he died, there was a bit of
there was a legal chokehold. Yes.
Yeah. That one and the one in DC. That one's like got crazy.
That was an uprising, but there wasn't an uprising like this. This is a problem. This is going straight across the board.
Right. This is an upgrade from what happened in DC when that little kid got shot and when it went crazy. I was like, this is what Malcolm X was talking about. This is it right here. I was like, this is it right here. This one right here. This one is totally different. This one's totally different.
You can see this man. He was murdered. Like
I'm saying
the way he was murdered. It was a slow death on camera.
Right, but this is witnesses. Right, but Eric Gardner and this one, there are similar deaths. Right, but the difference between the one that in DC, that one was more backed by the black community, and you see the difference between that rioting and this rioting. The difference between this rioting and the other rioting is that this writing right now is so mixed with so many different diverse of people that they can't cipher out. They can't cipher out who to go after. Now, if this was an all black, like it was DC, they would do the same thing that they were doing in DC, tear gassing, water hole. They would have been. It would have been totally different.
In
but
Minnesota.
now
they tear gassed up
But
there.
hold on, but let me
Yeah, they tear gassing everywhere.
But let me just say this: the rioting doesn't mean anything if you don't register and vote.
Yes,
these officials out.
This has nothing. That has nothing to do with that. That has nothing to do with this. That has nothing to do with that. That has nothing to do with that.
It does.
I'm gonna.
No, it has nothing. It has nothing to do. This is not. This is not. This is something not dealing with something with government. This has nothing to do with government.
Everybody get their point off.
Let me explain how it does, bro. What it does is, if you need laws changed, you have to get the people out there that won't change the law.
Right, but this has nothing to do with law. This is something with a certain type of group. This has nothing to do with law.
But
These
Frank,
people are sent out.
So hold on, Greg. So how do you propose to get rid of it?
He had people tracing through the police. That's how they know how deep the Aryan Nation or KKK, whatever you want to call it, were in the police department. So when you got somebody elected that went through and did the work, like they did the work, but it wasn't. We didn't follow up. So
because they stopped it, they infiltrated.
But no, since nobody voted the next term when Obama was done, now 45 just got rid of everything.
Well, yeah, but we still had this when Obama was still in office, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You say
no, but because we still had killings when we still had killings when Obama was in office. So I mean, that's what I don't understand.
We got killed because we had 2 years of House and Senate, right? You had both floors. Next, now the next 6 years you don't have it. If you
but you got to understand these.
Years, you get laws passed that.
But these laws that's going to get passed, they're not going into these black communities. These low down black communities, they're not going down in there. That's the problem. That's how they get. That's how they. Because that's how they get. That's how they get around it. That's how they get around it.
Okay.
That's how they get around it. That's how they get around everything.
All right.
Oh, we know they're not going to vote, so we're going to do this. Oh, they're not going to do this, we're going to do this. So it's always something. It's always something.
You just made my point.
Yeah, Frank, you made his point.
Because I said you have to vote.
How?
Oh, well, we know they not
vote has nothing to do with it. Vote has nothing to do with it.
It has
vote has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with it.
How do we hold on, Greg? How do we resolve the problem then? If we can't vote to get our people in there to institute these laws, because first of all,
I don't have the answers. But what I'm saying is you got to
hold on, Frank, settle down.
What we're saying is, if we don't get people in there who's like us, who is like-minded like us,
we never will be. That's the thing. You think that logically, you think that, but you can't get those people in, man.
Hold on.
No, you're not.
We are. I am.
You keep hold on. What we're saying is, if we don't get the people in there who can make the laws that we need, like this guy just murdered this guy, he's getting 3rd degree. If that was one of us, first of all, we'd have been arrested that day, and it would have been 1st degree, no question. Right? But because we don't have the proper people in there saying like someone like us is like, no, he just killed a black man. No, you're getting 1st degree murder, and we're arresting you tonight. You're not going to be sitting home for 3-4 days. We're saying that we need to get our type of people in there. And I understand what you're saying. They're not going to let it happen, right? Because they have their groups in there, and their groups is powerful.
So what is the point of logical thinking like that if you know it's not going to happen?
Because we have to. We have to.
You're just throwing your vote away. You're not.
We're not voting.
You're putting your hope into something,
bro. You are really doing.
You're putting a hope into something and being like, it's like putting your hope in Obama and thinking everything is going to change. But no, it's not.
You know how the president.
It's not.
Work. He's not omnipotent.
I do. But right, I know that. But but
listen. You like the problem with everybody thinks like, oh, Obama didn't help you. He couldn't help anybody because he didn't have the votes in the House and in the Senate.
They was on the other side. He was by himself.
This stuff,
right. But the government is.
Remember the Obamacare Act. He signed an executive order. It didn't get passed.
We don't need nothing dealing with the government. We need another Malcolm X. That's the only way anything's gonna work again. That's the only way things gonna work again. That's the only way anything's gonna work again. The government is set up to be split. It's never gonna be. You know what I mean? You might have one or two numbers above, but it's always gonna be a tie because of the voting. It's always going to be a back and forth. It's always going to be a back and forth. Always going to be a back and forth.
I'll say this.
I'm not putting my belief in the government and my hope into the government. I'm not doing that. If you give me another Malcolm, then I'll do it. Then I'll do it.
But that's for you.
Because stuff got done. But stuff got done when stuff got done when he was putting things in order. Things got done for the black communities.
All right, stop being disrespectful.
Yes, I do.
You're over talking.
I'm not
people.
being disrespectful. I'm listening.
All right.
How? I'm listening.
Because we're starting to say something, and you go into your. I mean, this is a touching topic. Like, he's speaking with passion.
I understand. We all have our time to talk, though.
At the end, at the end of the day, we know that this shit was just senseless. It was inhumane, and it was done by a cop. And we're gonna close out with this. This was done by a cop. This wasn't his first time that he killed somebody. So the question is, why was he still in uniform? Why was he still policing the streets of the black and brown people, which at least two others he had killed already? And it was documented, but nothing happened. He, slap on the wrist, and not even that, he was just back on duty. So, it's just sad again, rest in peace to George Floyd, prayers to his family. This is just senseless, man. I mean, and we can go hours and hours about this, bro. So, let's just move on.
We all want the same thing. I think we all want to see justice. And I think that's at the end of the day.
Yes.
We all want to see justice. We all want to see the right thing to be done. And I think we all can agree that no matter what, at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and a human life was taken for a census act for no reason. An innocent man was killed, and that person's life is no longer here. And all we can do now is pray for the proper justice to be done, and be glad that we can wake up every morning and thank God that we're still here and we have our families, and just know that no matter what, our days on this earth can be taken on at any given moment and chance, and just be glad that we're here. And we have this podcast here now to be able to express our feelings and express our opinions, and people can hear what we have to say. And I'm sure that everybody that's going to be listening is going to understand how passionate we are about this subject, and everybody can understand that now wholeheartedly how we feel.
Yeah. Good way to close it out. All right, guys. Let's get into something a little more upbeat if we can. It may be hard.
It's not about yelling. It's about understanding of the same thing. That's all it is about. It's not hate or anything like that. It's more of a passion, like Rock was saying. I have a passion for it, and I'm not going to sit there and be like, "Oh, we're going to put our beliefs in the government." No, we already did for so many years, and the shit's still been happening since 1968. So why am I going to keep putting my faith in the government? You know what I mean?
We're way too soon. And I hate saying that. Yeah. I hate saying that because
it's still
way too soon for what? Way too soon for what?
Let me talk.
Way too soon for what? No, I'm saying I'm trying to understand. Too soon for what?
Everything to be perfect. All right, you guys.
Oh, they never be perfect.
No, but we need.
I'm not looking for anything to be perfect. It's not. I'm not. That's the thing. It's not going to be perfect.
Eventually. But we
can't have a perfect world.
There's no way we were put on this earth to fight with each other all the goddamn time. There's no way.
Without evil, there's no good. Or without good, there's no evil. There's always going to be a rotten apple, regardless.
That's not real life.
No, it's not. That's the way God made Earth.
We just want to be able to get as close to perfect as we can. It'll never be perfect. It's always going to be good and evil. It's always going to be good and bad. We know that.
Well, perfect. You got to remember, perfect's an interpretation. So for one purpose,
everyone has
one person. like perfect
Right.
scenario.
That's what I'm saying. There's never, there's never going to be.
something. So
It is, yeah.
it's a like we could get there, but somebody might not
Yeah,
like it.
and
Like, you
then
know
do
what I
something
mean?
to change it all around. So we know. All right. Several places we mentioned about it last week with E, saying that is Virginia still in the yellow? E?
Fell asleep.
But anyway, he said Virginia's in the yellow. Talks is that
I'm sorry, my bad.
Is
My
Virginia
bad,
still
sorry.
is Virginia still in the yellow?
Well, yes, I guess you can say we're starting to open back up certain things, and restaurants are having their patios open now.
Okay. So
the government of Virginia has issued a mandatory masks in all of Virginia, so you can't go nowhere without a mask on now. So basically, everywhere you go, you gotta have a mask.
But they're starting to open up businesses where you can go in and actually get.
No, well, depends on what you mean.
Like
we
restaurants
have restaurants. They have patios though.
Okay.
The patios are open, so that doesn't mean you can go inside and actually eat. You got to go outside and eat. And they do practice social distancing there as well. I haven't seen the movie theaters open up yet. I haven't seen like all these other businesses. There's still restrictions. The gyms aren't open up yet, which I wish they were. But
I don't think the gyms gonna open up to green, right?
Like this.
I mean, whatever the colors are.
Yeah, I know some Florida. I know some Florida ones
Florida's
are open.
moving it. Florida's moving ahead. They don't.
But my thing is that, like I was saying earlier, here certain restrictions are being lifted, but it's still way early in the game for us here in Virginia. But yeah, but mandatory masks are definitely a new thing now. It's mandatory.
Well, I know tosses next week. We're supposed to go to the yellow. I don't know what that means. I guess a little similar to there, things are supposed to open up a little bit with social distancing practice and masks been mandatory here. I don't know for how long. But I guess the thing is, let's move forward a little bit. What would be like one of the first things you're going to do when this pandemic is quote unquote over?
Shot and beer.
Well,
you do that now?
No, but I can't do that with a bartender. I'm the only bartender.
Okay, so you're going to the bar. Okay. Okay.
Oh, you mean a bar? Okay.
You say you do that now.
I'm like, hold on, what? You can do that now. You can do that now. I was like, you said bar. I'm like, oh, all right.
I need my psychologist
That's different.
back, my bartender.
What about you, Frank? What you gonna do?
I don't know. I don't know I don't know how this stuff is gonna go, man. Like, I got soccer I gotta worry about. I'm trying to get to the gym. Like, I know I'm gonna be home, working from home until like the end of summer, so like that's a good thing. But I know like this soccer thing is gonna be crazy because they're like only allowing one coach on the field with no parents.
They're still gonna play.
They're gonna play, but it's like only one coach, no parents. Like it's gonna be crazy. You know what I mean? Then it's like where.
Did you get a good? Are they have enough kids to field multiple teams?
I mean, we still got the clubs. You know what I mean? You still got every club. Already assembled. It's just like once we get into like the yellow, we can have practice, and then like in the green, I think that's when we're gonna get in the games. But it's still gonna be like a protocol. So it's gonna be weird. And like I was telling my son, he was like, "Well, we can't really get physical." I'm like, I don't know how the hell y'all.
I don't know how they stop that. I don't know
what the heck's going on.
That's weird.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So I mean, even I was watching soccer today. I was watching soccer today in Europe. I mean, they having full contact, and I don't see, anything different. Everything's still
if you do without
the same.
contact,
It's just
then
no
there's
fans.
no reason to play a game. Like you just out there just jail drill.
Yeah. And I mean, my only thing is like trying to get back in the gym. I mean, but I know that's going to be crazy once things open up.
Yeah.
Great.
Look, man, like I've been working.
But I know, but you're gonna take a vacation.
I ain't even gonna take a vacation. I won't go nowhere. Look, man, like they open up Florida gets more cases. They open up Georgia gets more. Man, I'm sitting in my house home. I'm just going to work, And like
It's
we
the
already
new
like
America.
we've been.
New world.
I was joking with somebody today because I was like, it's the safest time to go to a restaurant. They got people cutting their beards, wearing
Washing their
masks
hands.
and gloves, like so, and they on them like they ratting each other out. They ain't cleaning what they supposed to. The greatest time to go out and do it. Like
Wait,
the greatest time,
he
bro.
ain't got his mask on. Yeah, right, Greg. They're like, he ain't got his mask on. Let me get his hours.
He ain't washed his hands when he came in.
Exactly. Like, yo, like it's if you a germaphobe, it is the best
That's me.
time
Yeah,
to
that's
eat
me.
out
Yeah.
right now. But like me and my wife were talking about that whole situation about going out to eat and stuff like that, and we just said like, nah, we'll just pick it up and bring it home. Like it
Yeah.
ain't that deep. Like why put ourselves at further risk?
Yeah.
If
I
we don't
tried
have
eating
to.
out. Yeah, I tried ordering out, but I was getting sick. Not getting sick, but I was just getting like nauseous,
Yeah.
and I was like, all right, you
You was
know what?
thinking
I'm
that
just gonna
shit. You was thinking
eat
that
from
had
home.
corona.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, I'm just gonna fix my food because somebody was like, oh, you order out. I'm like, I don't know, man. You know what I mean?
Gets in
Yeah.
your head, bro. But then when I started thinking
Yeah, I'm
about
like,
it,
I'm
I'm like, wait
good.
a second.
I'm good.
Everybody got masks and this is
Yo.
heaven.
Are you all keeping track of
D. No, go ahead,
of
Joe.
the
My bad.
percentages?
Huh?
You all keeping track of the percentages?
Of what? You talking about the cases?
Yeah.
I mean, whatever they show on TV, yeah.
Those
Like,
made
I
up
don't
numbers.
really.
Those made up
All right.
numbers.
Hey, Erik, you go, and then I'll give you guys some numbers.
Okay. What you gonna do, E? What's your
Those
first
made up
thing, E?
numbers.
I mean, no, I really, honestly, I'm with Greg. I mean, I would probably not gonna do much. If I had it, if I thought it was safe, I'd probably make that the vacation plans that me and Frank were trying to do. We were trying to go to India to go get that stuff for the suits and stuff, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. That probably would be the only thing.
Yeah, you want one podcast, E? I want you to break that down.
It.
What you thinking of doing with that, man? That's a good topic.
Yeah, well, I mean, right now that's where my plan is, but right now, I mean, it's just the way the nation, the world is going with the coronavirus. I just don't think it's safe enough to even travel, outside the country. Yeah. You'd be better off just staying in the country, even though the United States has the highest cases of coronavirus in the world. We're the worst, but I'd rather just be in my house for now, where at least I know where I'm at. It's kind of, I can deal with that. I don't know what the rest of the country is right now. Although I could probably check and look online and get the cases, but still, I'd rather wait it out.
All right, Joe. Real quick, what's your numbers you got? What's the percentage?
So I'm just using Pennsylvania, even though we can get every stat if we wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Pennsylvania has 67,000 cases right now. There's 12 million people in Pennsylvania. That's a 0.005% infection rate.
Now, of that, Joe, hold up, not to cut you off. Of that, how many is in the nursing homes?
65%.
Yeah, I heard the nursing homes is what's really driving a lot of it.
And that's just infection rate. That's not even death rate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's 105,000 worldwide death rates. 5,000 of them, or let's call it 5,100 in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
So that percentage goes even lower. So what I'm concerned about with this whole pandemic is that it was inflated to a point of, granted, there's going to be people that die, just like with the flu. There's going to be people that die. I think it was inflated too high, too fast. And the government's going to try to find a way out of this one.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to, well, now we got antibodies, and here's what we're doing. Everybody's getting antibodies. That's why we're going to be okay.
Yeah, but
in Virginia we have 36,244 confirmed cases. We have 1,171.
How many people live in Virginia?
That's a good question.
So people
I don't know that.
in Virginia.
Well, while they're looking that up, I would say this. You got to still remember, because there's a bunch of people that were probably asymptomatic. You don't have a true count of how many people.
Yeah, they're just able, like you said, to fight it off. So, it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, so it could have been way more people were affected, but never felt a symptom or felt like they had to go to a doctor, and the quarantine just kept it from spreading to somebody else. So that number isn't like a true number because we don't know exactly how many people.
Well, to play.
Yeah, I'm giving you stats based upon what they're seeing.
Yeah.
So
That's the confirmed ones. 10, yeah.
If we times that by 10,
but
it's 0.0005 at that point.
Yeah, but Joe, what I'm saying is, at a certain point, they weren't even. So they did contact tracing. So if you didn't contact, so say you had it or you thought you had it, at first they wasn't going to test you for it unless they could trace that you were in contact with somebody who was in contact with somebody that had it. You know what I'm saying? So they weren't taking you seriously until they found that you were in contact with somebody. So, but at the same time, like,
oh my god,
the 7 degrees of separation type
right?
deal.
Sorry, Lysol.
With 7 degrees of separation, if you're just in the same room with somebody, you could get it, and you were never in the same room as somebody that actually had it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's
8.5 million people in Virginia.
Yeah, 8.536 million. Yeah, so your number is probably even lower.
Hence why they're in yellow already, and we're still in this side.
Yeah.
Well, some cities, and like we said last week, are open. They're in yellow because they're more of the rural, where the population isn't that high. But in this area where we're at,
upper and middle states,
where we're at in southern Pennsylvania, we're in red as of today. But
so I'm going to pose a side question to everybody.
What's up?
In my belief, this thing was blown out of proportion, but there's a lot of statisticians saying that the second round of this is going to come later this year.
Mm-hmm. When it gets colder.
Yeah, how many people believe that?
I mean, my thing is this: how do we know people ain't had coronavirus all these other years? Like, is it like if you read like the Lysol and all that stuff, it says to help.
It's a different type of coronavirus, Rock.
Yeah,
it's a different type.
There's 19 versions of the coronavirus.
Well, that's what I'm like. So it's 19 strands of the flu. Like, I get it. Like, I mean, I don't know. I just don't believe that it came from somebody eating a bat or whatever they originally said this thing was.
Yeah, I don't think that's true neither.
Yeah,
it's a man-made disease.
That's what I believe. All right. Well, so Joe, just to recap, you're going to the bar. Frank, soccer and the gym. Greg and E, y'all just gonna continue to stay home. Me, I don't know. I probably stay. I mean, I want to go to the gym, Frank, but I don't know about that shit, bro. Like, I'll be in that bitch. Somebody cough, boy, they gonna get hit with a dumbbell or something. Like, yo, like what you doing here, bro? All right, Frank, you had brought this one up. You want to hit on the Elon Musk one? With SpaceX?
Yeah, I mean, that's it could be something short. I mean, it was just interesting to hear, like, this billionaire built this, spaceship to go out into space. Like, it's just you don't hear that you don't hear that at all, and for him to build a spaceship, to say, US, I'm building a big spaceship to go out of space. Like, and they get him the okay to do that. A regular human being. You know what I mean? He's not part of no type of government. He ain't part of nothing. Yes, he's an engineer, and everything like that. But it's just, for me, it's just unreal. I'm just like, you know what? It's going to come to a point where, like, once you get money like that, like, you can be like, you know what? I'm going out in space. You know what I mean? And I'm going to live in a whole different planet, like they always say. You know what I mean? So it's just, it was just interesting for me to hear something like that.
Getting away from this coronavirus, bro. He's gonna go out there and live while everybody.
You know what I mean? He's gonna go out there and try to find another planet. Like, I won't be surprised if he finds another planet before everybody else does, that we can actually live on.
Anybody want to touch on? Anybody got anything to add to that? Great.
So,
I'm actually reading the article right now about it. He launched astronauts into orbit. Yeah. Pretty cool. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's like it's been 9 years, I think.
More power to him. I mean, if that just means that if you got the money to do it, you can go ahead and do it. fuck. Basically, he basically said
He gonna be like said.
Well, it's not even that. It's not even that. Like, it's the government. Like, fuck the government, because it's like, how you allow a human being to build a spaceship to say, you know what, I'm going, you know what I mean, to live orbit, like to leave the whole Earth. Like, that's crazy to me.
So that's what the 1%ers can do, Frank. He's a 1%er. He can do whatever he wants.
You know, that's the crazy part. But that's what I'm saying.
Real quick. So I don't remember the exact date. I do know it was between like 2005 and 2010. But the United States of America government said they're not going to be working with NASA to launch shuttles into space. And they opened it up to, you know, the Elon Musks of the world, Tesla, and people like that to do so.
Okay.
So they opened that up. I'm going to say 10 plus years ago at this point.
Now,
I'm trying to find
now, did they open that up, Joe, because he paid them to open it up?
No. So here's
all right.
So they're saying,
right. That's what I'm saying.
So they're saying to themselves that, you know.
Oh, I stand correct. I'm sorry. I stand corrected. SpaceX launches 2 NASA astronauts.
Yeah, because they need people that know how to pilot a spaceship.
Yeah.
So he basically didn't say fuck that.
Yeah, he
hired
NASA. I bought NASA.
I'm gonna hire y'all.
Well, no. Yeah. So NASA's still an organization.
Yeah, I know.
They're still in business. They're still doing their thing.
Yeah.
But what's happening is they're allowing the people who want to take the technology and try to make it into space on their own, and learn from it. So here's the thing: you got Tesla, who probably knows more about it than anybody in the world. That they can actually send a rocket up and bring it back down to an actual square inch if they wanted to.
Oh wow!
Of course, as you know, earlier in the last few years, they had 2 out of 3 successful, 1 not.
Yeah.
So they're still learning. They're still trying to figure it out. 2 out of 3 was enough for them. They're sending out these humans at this point. Now, remember a few years back when they were talking about $100,000 gets you into space?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these millionaires, top 1%, we'll call it, they spent $100,000 to buy into this, to know that at some point
they can go out of space.
Exactly. Elon Musk in this scenario is going to take them to outer space. They're going to get
what did it say on Kings of Comedy? Gonna be motherfucking being there with Cadillacs out of space with drive through space.
No, actually, so here, Virgin Galactic plans to offer a suborbital jaunt into space worth $250,000.
Niggas gonna be buying spaceships, dog. Fuck.
And then already 600 customers have signed
up.
Fuck
that Bentley. I'm getting a spaceship, bro.
Wow.
including Leonardo DiCaprio, Katy Perry, Ashton Kutcher, and other superstars.
People that can afford that.
And Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, 250 ain't that bad, but that's just still crazy.
That's a house.
So they're gonna.
That's crazy.
They're going to work on this more and more.
Yeah.
It's going to be a private sector and compared to part of the government going forward. And I think in the next 10 to 15 years, we're going to see a huge expansion in what we're able to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be the low class. It's going to be the low class left on Earth.
Y'all can have it
everybody else.
You might be right. Who knows what their back end, agenda is?
Speaking of 1%ers, y'all heard that they projecting Jeff Bezos to be the first trillionaire.
Oh man,
a trillionaire, dog. Like if anyone made out on doing this quarantine or this pandemic, it's him. And like what did we say? We looked it up, Frank. What they made, like $10,000 a second?
They make a second. No, they make 2,400 a sec. No, it was 2,400 a second, but they make a day transaction a day. They make 26.5 million.
Look that up. See how much does Amazon make a second?
Yeah,
it's about 24 to 2,500. He said it.
Yeah. A second. That's still crazy. That's a second. That's not
100.
I mean, it looks small because you're
that's a lot. A second?
Yeah. So 100.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying when you hear it.
A minute.
That's fucking crazy, man. A trillionaire, bro.
It just show you how data is.
But he gonna be a trillionaire after cutting his wife. How much he had to cut his wife when they got that divorce? Like
$45 billion.
I thought it was like 300.
40,
I thought it
She
was
probably
like
said
in
still
the
ain't
hundreds.
enough.
No, it's 47 or 48 billion.
Billion. You said billion, right?
Wow.
Yeah, billion. Yeah. Jesus, fuck. That's after having to cut her that, bro. 47 billion.
Mm.
Yo, I want to.
Hey, that's probably like $48,000 for him.
I'm gonna go last on the Bezos thing, so let everybody else go first.
You got something you want to add to that? What's your viewpoint on that, Greg? You got anything?
Nah, I don't.
Besides delivering it.
Greg, like, nah, I ain't talking about him. He keeping me in business.
I mean, put it like this: it's a good and bad thing. Do I think that that business is exploitive? Yes. Do I think that it does help people because it does get people the cheapest stuff, and so yeah, but I think there's more checks and balances that should have been put on that because like you could argue it is kind of
It's a monopoly.
eyes, like in my
opinion,
it's
a monopoly.
It's a monopoly. So it becomes, well, when do you check it? And it hasn't been checked, and so the guy just gets to just
don't forget, like he wasn't paying taxes in a lot of the states. But that was about 5 years ago. Like I think they, I mean, because my company, we do a lot of business with them, but like now in most of the states he has to pay the sales tax. But prior to that, he was shipping in all these states not to pay tax. That was all profit. So but he's part of the 1%ers. They get those breaks. Frank.
Yeah,
I think he's part of something else. Man, because Alibaba was doing the same exact thing, and then all of a sudden this bull come out of nowhere and do the same exact thing that they're doing, and they just kick Alibaba to the side. I'm like, like how did that happen? All these laws went on China, and then all of a sudden here he comes, Amazon.
You got to pay to play, baby.
America wasn't having that. Well, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. It was more of a power struggle. America wasn't trying to have China be a powerhouse, so they had to figure out a way to
they had to find a company that could handle
That's
that.
The crazy part.
He was right there.
Yeah.
You got something, bro? What you want to say? Okay.
No.
All right, Joe. Go ahead, Joe. What you finish this off?
Yeah, mine's gonna be a little longer than just finishing it off. So, what I like, and I'm gonna go into the negatives after what I like. What I like about him reaching his goal possibly by 2025 is it sets a new standard, a new floor for anybody. So imagine looking at the last year where minimum wage went up in a lot of cases. So if he can become a trillionaire, minimum wage may move up again. And I'm praying to God that it does because there's a lot of people that need it. The fact that he's going to be the first trillionaire ever to exist, the top guy in the world was, hold on, let me see here. Born in 1280, Mansa Musa was the ruler of the Malayan Empire.
Yeah.
He was with
from Africa, which they're making a movie for.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he was the richest person for almost ever at this point. So if he breaks that goal of 2025 to be the first trillionaire, well, if we can see $20 an hour as minimum wage, and as long as inflation doesn't kick our ass, it will. I'm sure it will. Somehow it will. But we could see, and here's where the negatives come in. We're going to see the disappearance of a class of of people. Right now, there's the rich and there's the poor and there's a very small middle class. And here's the negatives. So that's where the negatives start. We need to have a balance between all, and we're not going to. Eventually, it's going to really turn into real problems when it comes to money. But I still think if there's a way to use this to get everybody more money, well, then maybe there's just the top 1%, and the rest of the 99% ends up being middle class. I mean, I'm praying hopeful. I don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm being hopeful.
Say your prayers every night for that one, because
Yeah, but final note for this guy: if he's going to make that much money by 2025, well, give it back to all your people. Give it back to your distributor. Give it back to the people that you want to have, their own small.
Stop that.
No, but what I'm saying to you,
You can't think like that.
I looked into the whole Amazon fleet, and you have to have 10 vehicles, and they'll provide you with some funds for it. Well, provide a little more. Give us a little more dollar per hour. Give us a little more something.
Can I just add something? Because I just want to make sure I heard it right. Joe, you're saying that you think that with his profits, he's going to raise minimum wage?
No, not him. Not him. I'm saying the classification of money has to change because now we have a trillionaire.
Because
which
that's
we're going to get
in.
into. Yeah, we're going to get into the next podcast. We're going to get into the crypto. Yeah. Yep.
Well,
that's where crypto's going to come in at.
Hold on. Let me just say this. Like minimum wage is something that should have been pushed up. Needs to be pushed up. But for a long time it should have been pushed up. The problem that holds minimum wage in all jobs down is because jobs have told everybody not to talk to each other about their salaries,
which is illegal in the United States.
It's not illegal to talk about your salary to a coworker. There's no law on the books. There's no rule. You can't be fired for it. They tell you that so you don't have a leverage in negotiation. Because if you did talk to, so if me and Frank did the same job, and me and Frank talked about salary, and I found out Frank's getting 15 more than me, and I know I'm doing more than Frank, I have leverage now that I can go to my boss and go, yo, he doing minimum work. I'm your horse. You ain't giving me I need more of that. I need more money, man.
It's tough. It's tough, man, because it's tough.
The problem is most people are taught that it's taboo. And that's really the best word for it. It's taboo to talk salary. But most people should, if you in like-minded fields, so if you're talking to nurses should talk to nurses. If you're an IT person, talk to an IT person. Know what the field is getting, so this way you can get what you're owed. Usually unions set the bar on pay, but now
a lot of companies are. Yeah.
Well, the problem is unions have been busted because it hurts the bottom line of a Jeff Bezos. That's why you see his stuff don't go union. They bust it before they come in. Because guess what? His ass wouldn't be a trillionaire because they would be getting in his pockets like, bro, we need pensions, we need health, we need 15, bro. That should be 30 the way you work.
I mean, and especially during this time with the hazard pay, that should be on top. Yeah, he should be. Yeah.
Exactly, but what I'm saying is to break it down, it needs to be more communication between people, especially if you in a field. Find out that information because it gives you more leverage to go to your boss and go, wait, the rate right now is 60, 70, 80. Why am I at this number?
Yeah.
And then when they go check the facts and they know you right, guess what you get? You get what you should have been getting from Jump Street. So it's, to me, you to think that, and this is just my opinion, to think that a billionaire or somebody is going to give you something they won't. Now, they give it something if you have proof that you need to have it for them to for you to do your job. But they became a billionaire because they accrue money. They don't give money. So they're not going to give money. You know what I mean?
But
under any circumstances.
But I think
last point on this, Frank. Go ahead.
Getting yours.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think what Joe was talking about, which I was talking to Rock about, I've been doing a lot of research on Jeff Bezos and Amazon, Gymshark, just because of my physique athletics business and learning how to recruit, clients, emails and stuff like that. With Amazon, dude, he makes if I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to sell stuff, right? I can create a website and I can sell whatever he's selling on Amazon just at $1 cheaper price. So I can create a website and say, hey, I got these lamps, I got this, I got that. but I'm getting it from Amazon. But on my website, it look like it's my brand. It look like it's my name, you know. And I think that's what Joe's. Yeah, so I think that's what Joe's talking about. Is like people that is in that lower class. He's giving them opportunity to say, hey, look, like there's ways to make money, you know. And I think that's what Joe's trying to get around to, because I noticed a lot of these, like I noticed a lot of these, you know, businesses and people coming out with all these, you know, different websites and they selling something, and then I come to find out that they actually got it from Amazon, and I'm like, all right, what the heck? But it's a different, you know, when you go on the website, it might be like brands company. You're like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna get this chair, I'm gonna get this, and then when you get it, you don't even know that it's coming from Amazon.
But you know,
you know. So I think that's what Joe was trying to, you know, talking about, like how, you know, the lower class can kind of come up in a way to accrue money and get out of that class.
Right. Let's just, you know, because you know what I want to do now is, you know, now that we're done with the Last Dance and that review where we went over the topics based upon the 2-hour episodes combined, you know, we're running the time. So to keep this podcast a little light, we'll just close out with this thought, and then the other topics that we had, we'll move to the next podcast. Greg, this is more for you because and E. What's y'all thoughts on the upcoming NFL season?
Why, Rock? Why don't you have any thoughts on it?
No,
team or something?
I mean, you know, y'all know me. Like, I like to wait and see how the season starts out. I don't really go in. I mean, I'm not gonna go in and say my team ain't gonna win, but I'm not going in with no expectations of a Super Bowl or nothing like that. I just want to make the playoffs.
I mean,
look, man.
Again, Rock,
what's your thoughts on the upcoming NFL season, man? Do you think it's gonna start on time?
I was
okay. Yo, man, I rep Washington Redskins all day, baby. DMV, you know where I'm from.
So just for the people out there, Rock is like E as an NBA fan with the Knicks. So he just got the rainy cloud on.
I mean, let's not forget the you switched over to the Patriots.
Let's not talk about that. Yeah.
Let's not talk about that. Yeah.
I'm sorry, E.
Let's not forget about the year you switched over to the Patriots. I mean, let's not talk about that.
Oh shit!
I didn't switch over to the Patriots.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Here we are. Next topic. Next topic. We just gonna keep it moving. We just gonna keep.
But now, do y'all think the season's going to start on time? Because isn't training camp supposed to open up soon?
No. You
don't think so?
It's not gonna start on time. The answer to that is
no.
I'll say this: if everything is green, I can't see it not starting on time, because then if everything's green by the end of July, when training camps usually start,
it may be.
Then I think it is a chance. I wouldn't say no, because we don't know what's going to happen week to week, let alone 2 months. You know, so I just say for right now, I would say everything looks like it's going to start on time, and
they're riding with no problem.
That's what I'm saying. I think, bro. I think they're just at the point now, like with Joe reading off the statistics, and I think they're at the point now. They're just like, look, we just opening everything back up. You know, like we got to try to get back to status quo as possible.
Well, they're scared of. People are scared of losing money, especially the NFL, because their gate is massive.
100,000 people.
Even on bad teams. Even bad teams sell out. So they looking at it like, yo.
Well, I mean, they look at Well, they're looking at that, and remember, small businesses makes the economy work. So if small businesses are losing all this money, it's like, it makes a major impact. So they're like, all right, we got to do something, because all these small businesses
all those
are losing money.
Restaurants and vendors and things like that. Yeah, no, you're right. So, what y'all think? Predictions: who gonna win the Super Bowl? Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City.
I'm gonna mark this down. You got Kansas City. Who you got, Greg?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like waiting until after like preseason. I got.
I know, right?
He wait to Super
No,
Bowl. He wait to Super Bowl.
I got the Tampa Bay
Patriots.
Buccaneers.
Nah,
Patriots.
I like look. I wanna.
Tampa Bay ain't going nowhere.
Until I see people on the field, man. I gotta see them on the field, man. I can't.
You're not going with your Eagles?
Eye test.
You going with the Giants?
No.
What's your thoughts? You think so? You saying you don't think it's gonna start? Joe, you think it's gonna start on time? Joe there? Joe? Did Joe? Oh, okay.
No,
Frank, you think it's gonna start on time?
We talking about Roger Condell. Like, it's the NFL, the biggest thing out right now. Like, it's gonna start on time. It's going to. Roger gonna find a way to make that thing start on time.
They might develop a cure before.
Right? Roger gonna be like, look. Roger,
who you?
Like, it's
who you got for the Super Bowl?
NFL's its own government.
Frank said Kansas City. Greg is gonna wait till the Super Bowl.
I said I'll wait till after.
Well, we know what that means.
Who you got? Who you think?
It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to say. A team that's looking kind of stacked right now. Who's the team that DeAndre?
Arizona.
Arizona looks really good right now.
This is why I don't talk football, man.
But I mean, these are dark horses. I mean, you can always go ahead and put your money on the Eagles.
I think Kansas City. I think Kansas City gonna
be tough again.
Their running back game. Their running back game is crazy.
Their running back game, yeah. I mean, it's like you said, it's too hard to decide, man. I mean,
well, I'll say this, Rock. You know what makes it hard to decide this year because they don't have
OTAs.
So all
they don't have what?
Coming in.
If you really had a chance to see the games, the OTAs, I think that would actually help a lot.
Yeah, like a lot of these rookies they not get on the field work with the coaches on technique and stuff like that. Because I mean, they're great athletes, but from everything you read or listen to, they tell you like it's a difference of levels. So it's even more technical. As good as you were in college, even more technical in the pros. So I would say like take the Eagles for instance. They got Rager at wide receiver. Mm-hmm. Well, the kid is fast as all get out, but there might be some things he need to learn for nuance in the Eagles offense.
Yeah, well, I mean, college to the pros is a difference. Yeah,
so, but if he had that time, I could be like, okay, cool. Him and Carson gonna be crazy, but I can't because he ain't doing it. You know what I mean? So, like. That's what makes it hard to pick certain teams or any team. Like, Kansas City is going to be who they are because if you want one team, it's going to be Kansas City because I don't think anybody can keep up with Mahomes and his crew because everybody fast on that damn team.
And not for nothing, I mean, Tampa Bay, you gotta put them in the conversation now. You gotta put them
Brady don't got Bill anymore.
Well, we gonna see. That's what's
more regular quarterback.
All right, look.
He's a regular quarterback.
Frank. You gotta look
regular
at the
quarterback.
They got though.
He got Gronk back, baby.
Right, but it's Bill. Right, but they don't got Bill. They don't got Bill. They don't got Bill.
But he got hold on. He got Mike Evans.
You think
what's the other tight end they got down? He got some people down.
They don't have Bill Belichick.
We gonna
they don't have Bill Belichick.
But the Patriots don't got Tom Brady. So what you saying?
Tom Brady is old.
Belichick is old. What you saying?
He's a great coach.
Tom Brady's a great quarterback. What you saying?
Because of Bill Belichick. Because of Bill Belichick.
We can have this argument all day long. I don't even like Tom Brady like that, but you can't compare.
Let me just say this. You got to remember, Bruce Arians' offense, they throw deep.
Yeah, man.
He wasn't throwing deep like in New England. It was all short intermediate throws. Like
those short receivers.
And he's tall.
Deep he's tall receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like
and Tom loved throwing that ball.
Okay, he can love throwing the ball when he get the ball to him.
Come on, man.
That's
We
gonna
gonna
be flat.
that's
That's
what I'm
gonna
saying.
be
We gonna
flat.
see. Hey, we
He's like,
gonna see.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
see.
gonna
We
be
gonna
interesting
see.
to see.
That's all I
It's
can
gonna be
say.
interesting to
I'm
see.
not a Tom Brady fan. I'm not a Tom Brady fan by no means.
I am
Well,
either.
we
I
know
don't
why
like
you
Tom
don't like
Brady.
him, Frank, because
Now,
he always
I
beat
don't like Tom
Peyton.
Brady.
We know
We
that. Like we know you're a Tom Brady hater.
No, no, it was Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick was Bills.
we took
Yeah,
Tom Brady hard
you do
twice, so
got
we good.
you can
We
always do
were
that.
Yeah.
They did lose y'all. Yeah, that undefeated season that y'all did give.
Mm.
they lost to us too. They should have lost to us twice, but they had to film walkthroughs.
They always cheat. That's what I say. They always cheat. Bill Belichick always find a way to cheat.
Look, I ain't mad
Yeah,
at Bill
man.
for breaking the
You
rules, man. Good on him. Like,
you
look,
go
he
as
did the
found a
smart. You
loophole.
go as much as you can, bro.
You find a loophole.
Hey.
Did they
Find a
pull
loophole.
any of those rings? He still got 6, right? They ain't pulled none of those rings. So
Yeah, as I said, that's why I said I give it to Bill Belichick. I give it to Bill Belichick because nothing goes through it
He
without
ran the
him saying
team.
a
He
yes or
did run
no.
the team. I give him that.
Yeah, I mean,
Let
you call audible. You call audible. It better be from Bill.
It better be
If you didn't
approved
call
by Bill
audible,
first, huh?
screw.
Like these are the audibles you can call.
It better be
Oh
approved. I'm
man.
telling you that right now. Right? So I'm gonna see Tom Brady out there without Bill, and they gonna be like, "Oh, he old now." Nah, it's because of Bill. You see what happened when Garoppolo got in quarterback? He was what 6-0, didn't he, Greg? He was 6-0, and they were like,
Even
"Nah, we gotta get
Jacoby,
Tom Brady back in there."
what's his name? Got in there and did his thing. Yeah.
he
Exactly.
God, you give him like the most amazing thing about him as a coach is that he could change his game plan for any quarterback, and then he could change it with that quarterback every game that quarterback's in. He changes the game plan. Like just watching Brady, where one game they passing deep, next game is underneath, next game is medium, next game
Right.
running the ball down. It's like
Right. It's Bill Belichick, and he put.
you mad as you like. Nah, they was just
Well,
doing this last week. Now they doing
Yeah.
this. The
Mm-hmm.
who did he? Hold on, real quick before we
it's
close out. Who did he get at court? Did he get a quarterback yet?
I don't know. I don't know who they got. They're gonna put somebody in there that go 13-0.
I'm gonna say this.
That's what I was gonna say.
If
Cam would be good for them.
But I think they want to.
That'd be a problem.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah,
that would be a problem.
Cause Cam still got some in the tank, bro. Like Carolina just ran him to the ground, bro. Like, but he still got something in the tank. Cam would be a problem with New England. I think that'll be a good ass pickup. That shit. I mean, unfortunately, man, I think our owner, like, him and Rivera got a relationship, so I'm kind of hoping they do that, but.
Never get rid of that owner, man. He's the best.
All right,
Snyder's the best, bro. I just like watching it.
They in DC. What you expect? They not gonna change the DC.
We don't play
they
in
DC, Greg. You hear me, Greg?
What?
Playing DC,
Washington,
man.
same thing. White House, same thing. Ain't nothing changing in the White House.
This been a good episode of
nothing changing in the White
House. Next week, we're gonna have we got a little announcement. We're gonna have something a little different. We're gonna add some video to it. So you guys get your haircuts and line your faces up. We'll talk about that, brother.
I'm giving haircuts.
We gonna talk about that on the pre-production meeting, Greg, on Wednesday. I got everything kind of worked out, so we'll talk about it. And I'll talk to you during the week if you can't make a pre-production, because I know you be working and stuff. But you guys ain't gotta really do nothing. It's just the same old thing. But all right. Again, rest in peace to George Floyd. And, prayers to his family, man.
Rest in peace.
All right, you guys be safe out there, bro.
Y'all be safe.
Take it easy. All right.
Y'all too.
What another amazing episode. I'd like to thank my brothers, Frank, Erik Castano, Joe, and Greg. Great episode. Had some great discussions, some passionate discussions. I'd like to give a shout out to our fellow brother, Whit. Couldn't be here with us tonight. He had some family obligations to take care of. We love you, bro.
I'd like to offer, again, condolences and say rest in peace to George Floyd. And prayers be with him or be with his family and loved ones. I would like to also say thank you to our listeners and subscribers and followers. You know, we thank you for the support. We thank you for the comments, for the likes. And I have some exciting news. You know, I read the comments, heard the feedback. We will be implementing video. So starting episode 7, you're going to be able to put some faces to the voices. If you haven't already, please follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, and all that information is in the description below. I'd like to thank you, everyone. I would like to say stay safe, be blessed, and until next time.